What's up, YouTube? It's your boy John from Project Ellsworth, and I'm here today to give you my official entry into H&S Collectibles Road to 1,000 Subscribers contest. I have no doubt that anybody who's watching this more than likely already knows Cody, but if not, Cody's an awesome guy, a lot of collection videos, a lot of vinyl videos. He is the host of the Coast to Coast horror stream every Saturday night, 9:15, 9:30, whatever life allows. And he is a personal friend of mine. I'll leave a link to Cody's channel down below. He's got a few questions for us. He's got 3 questions that each have several parts. Feels like a test. I'll give you my answers in 1 second. Let's get to it. As always, I hope everybody out there is doing well, staying safe. Eventually, you guys are going to get tired of me saying that, probably. I say that at the beginning of every video, and it is what it is. All right, so first question was, movie that needs a remake, a reboot, and a redo. One of each. Remake, I don't know how popular this answer is going to be. Nothing. Nothing else needs a remake. For God's sakes, let's get some original ideas out here. I'll be totally honest with you. Most of the remakes that have come out, I've been a fan of. I've had no problem. The only one that pops into my head that I absolutely, positively, fucking hated was Psycho. I watched it once. I don't remember if I made it all the way through it. I thought it was pointless and dog shit, and that was it. That movie's the only remake that comes to mind that I absolutely, positively saw no point in that film even existing. And it sucks too, because your boy I like Vince Vaughn. All right, but nothing. Look, dude, most of the older movies that are getting remade, it's fine. If you remake them, whatever. But for me, a lot of the charm of the old movies is the poor lighting and the practical effects and all that. Because in my head, when I hear remake, the thing that comes to mind immediately is CGI. Practical effects are gone. I think CGI, I think everything that's made now is going to be polished and pretty. And we don't need that. Imagine, well, they did an okay job with Dawn of the Dead. I thought that the Dawn of the Dead remake was actually really, really good. But I still don't know that I like that as much as the original film because of what the importance of that original film was. Day of the Dead. They remade that a couple of years ago, and I don't know if you've ever seen that worm turd, but it was just a complete and total waste of time. And the original Day of the Dead would not, in my opinion, obviously, would not be nearly as good if it wasn't grimy and gritty and dark and practical effect. That movie without the practical effects is nowhere near the movie that it is, considered legendary because of. Direct result of the practical effects. So for me, I know they're going to keep remaking movies and try and keep breathing life into things that I'm aware of that, and I'm actually fine with that. But do I think that they need to do that? No. I think for the most parts, I think if you're going to say it needs to be done, then that means, in my opinion, again, you can tell I do reaction videos now. I got to defend everything I fucking say anymore. In my opinion, if something needs to be redone, then it shouldn't have been done in the first place because the original product just ain't up to snuff. That's my humble opinion. All right, reboot. This one, I bet you, is a popular answer. Friday the 13th. I want all this legal shit out of the way. I want more Jason. I watched another content creator talking about this. It doesn't need to have any references to old movies. It doesn't need to have a storyline. Jason's mom doesn't need to be involved. The Tommy character doesn't need nothing. Put a big guy, preferably Derek Mears, put him in a husky mask. That made that up. Put him in a hockey mask. Put him in the dark. Put him in a lake. Give him a machete. And let the film roll for an hour and a half, and everybody would be happy. Give us a Friday the 13th movie. We need that more than anything else. All right. And redo Hellraiser. I don't know how many of you guys actually watch the movie reviews that I do, but I still have one left. I'm not all the way through them, still got one. Your boy needed to take a breath and work has been crazy. Haven't had a chance to watch the last Hellraiser movie. Is it Judgment? Haven't gotten to that one yet. I think that's now our third pinhead. The Hellraiser sequels from part 3 on, some have been better than others, but for the most part, if they were erased from existence, I don't think most people would give a shit, to be honest with you. So, I don't know if we need to remake Hellraiser, but I definitely feel like we should, if we're going to do it, if we're picking what should be redone, like all of the Hellraiser sequels. Cancel all that. We're canceling everything else in this goddamn society. Cancel that dog shit. And give us like a good Hellraiser continuation. I know there's something in the works for HBO Max, and there's another thing in the works that is going to have a female Pinhead. Should be interesting. All right, so that's it. Redo most of Hellraiser, and that would be fantastic. All right, the next question is a movie scene that brings you to emotion or it pulls emotion out of you. For that, my immediate response in my head was when it's not horror at all. None of this is horror. Actually, is any of the rest of it? Well, some of it gives a shit. One question at a time. When Rocky beats Apollo, I'm 50 years old, and I saw every single Rocky movie that there is in the movie theater, including the original Rocky film. In Rocky 2, when Rocky finally beats Apollo, that every single time that I watch that movie to this day, I almost well up. Sometimes I do. Depends on how much sleep I got, I think. That brings out a ton of emotion in me. That is probably my favorite franchise in the history of movies is Rocky. I mean, I wish we could delete Rocky 5, but I love all the rest of them. I'm just a diehard Rocky fan. Rocky beating Apollo is easily my answer. The next one is a Stephen King non-horror movie, and that would be when Red gets released from prison and he is making his voyage to meet Andy on the beach at the end of Shawshank Redemption. That arguably is my favorite movie of all time. So my favorite franchise is Rocky, and my favorite movie might be The Shawshank Redemption. It ain't neither one of them horror. At least Stephen King wrote Shawshank. And Darabont did a fantastic job with that film. But those are my two answers to that question. There were the two that immediately popped into my mind. I'm sure there's more. I'm an emotional guy. Give me a break. All right, next up. What score brings out that emotion in you? That's also, this is the one that I had to think about probably the most of all of these questions. I would say, another non-horror, the end of E.T., when E.T. is saying goodbye to Mike and Gertie and Elliot. That just tears my heart out every time I watch it. I can feel it right now thinking about it. That scene in that movie and that score right there, just wow. Powerful stuff. Saw that when I was a little boy, and I just recently bought that in 4K. I love E.T., and that was very, very strong stuff for me. I think I just moved my camera. All right. And there was another one. I mentioned in another video something that I'm almost embarrassed that I never saw. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Never seen that movie. But Ecstasy of Gold is in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I am a damn near 40-year diehard Metallica fan. And they open every single show that they've done for almost the entirety of the history of that band. They open with Ecstasy of Gold as their intro, their coming out music. So it is wired into my psyche that every single time I hear that, the hairs on my body, I've seen them a whole lot of times. I haven't missed a Metallica show around here since 1988. I've been to a couple of them. Every time I hear that song, I could be outside mowing the grass, and if that song came on in my headphones, every hair on my body would stand up. So it's a different emotion, but it's an emotion. All right, next up. What's the next quiz question? Best video game adaptation. All right. So this one is a game that has a different title, and it's loosely based. There's nothing, I've never seen that official, that it was definitely loosely based on this movie. But have you guys ever seen or played the game Dead Rising? That game is a blast. It's an incredible amount of fun. And I've played through that game countless amount of times with my younger son. We both love it. And if you are familiar with it, you know exactly where I'm going. If you're not familiar with that game, or you're not a gamer, that game, you are a guy named Frank. You are a photographer. There is a zombie apocalypse going on, and you are trapped in a mall. So I probably don't even need to say anymore. If you're a horror fan, you know what movie is in the middle of a zombie apocalypse and you're trapped in a mall. That game, like I said, I've never heard it announced that was based on Dawn of the Dead, but give me a break. That game's fun, and I have no doubt in my mind that they were creating that game. They said, let's put them in the mall. It worked in the movie, so whatever. And the worst video game adaptation, is there any way in the world that that's not E.T.? There's that game, I remember when that game came out. Like I said, I'm 50. I'm not old, but I got some patina on me. We'll put it that way. I remember when that game came out, and a lot of people were excited about that thing. I got that sumbitch. I put that game in my system, and that was definitely one of the worst games I've ever played, let alone movie adaptation. That game sucks. There's actually a documentary about that game, about it being so bad and how much money was lost on that game that I'm almost positive it was Activision. They took just bunches and bundles and piles and shipments of those actual video game cartridges out into an Arizona desert and buried them in the ground. So if the creators of the game are burying the game in a desert, it's probably not a good game. All right. Best and worst movie adaptation from a video game. Right away, my mind immediately said Resident Evil. And that one's kind of tough because the Resident Evil film series, what was there, 5 of them? It's either 5, 6, or 7. I think it was 5. Might be wrong. Don't shoot me. I like those movies. I actually like bits and pieces of all of those movies. But it's hard to say that that's the best because the main character in that entire series does not exist in the video games. Mila Jovovich, I think it's Jovovich is how you pronounce her name. Her character, Alice, was not in the Resident Evil games. Jill Valentine was the main female character in the Resident Evil games. I know she shows up sporadically in the movie series, but she's not the main character. So I didn't say that. I'm explaining that. I didn't say it. So I went with a pretty simple answer. I think that the best was the more recent Tomb Raider film. The girl in that film and the film itself was very in line or similar feel and look to the newer Tomb Raider trilogy that came out within the last decade. If you haven't played those games, I remember the original Tomb Raider coming out and I thought it was like groundbreaking. I look back at it now and it's laughable. But the 3 new games, Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and Rise of the Tomb Raider, are phenomenal video games. And the newer Tomb Raider film looks and feels like those. So my worst, I said, was Tomb Raider. The films with Angelina Jolie, I think that they were just a grasp at trying to take advantage of her popularity, and they thought it was really good to put her in tight brown short shorts and a tight blue top and put her in front of a bunch of guys. And I think that was probably a good idea. I don't mind it, but not so good. All right, so that's it. I'm getting out of here. That's my test entry to Cody's contest. All right, I'm just busting your balls, man. All right, I'm getting out of here. Like I said, if you guys don't know Cody, he's an awesome dude. He's one of my friends, and I love him to death. Go over and check his live stream out between 9 and 9:30 every Saturday night. I used to be on there every Saturday night. Now it's been a while. Life has been happening, but I'm planning to get back in there soon. Link to his channel will be down in the description below. Go over there, check him out, check out all his stuff. He's a great guy, great family, great friend, and just all around just awesome stuff. I'm getting out of here. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you really like this video and you've been enjoying my content up to this point, please do me a huge personal favor. Click that subscribe button and ring that bell. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Have a kick-ass day. Thank you for watching, folks. Later.